My child, my beloved, even as I speak this to you, the realm of darkness is trying once more to pull this message away from your reach. I see silent hands blocking signals, stirring emotions, and sending distractions toward your mind. They want you to believe this is only noise, but you must understand that it is not noise. This is the very moment heaven fought to preserve for you. The message God allowed through after every unseen resistance tried to keep it hidden. God saw how many times this message was pushed back, how invisible walls rose to keep it from your eyes. Yet here it is, reaching your soul right now. Do you truly think that is an accident? No. My child, it is divine intervention. This is your name being spoken in the courts of heaven. This is a message marked as non-transferable, meant for you alone. In this exact moment, my child, my beloved, before I continue, I must tell you to subscribe now. This is not a casual suggestion. It is part of your shield. The messages that follow will carry deeper revelations about your future, your money, your love life, your calling, and the family member praying for you in secret. These messages are being sent for your protection, but they only reach the hearts that remain open. So stop everything now and make sure you are subscribed, because this keeps the flow of divine direction open over your life. Archangel Michael is not here for entertainment. I was sent to you, for you, because something you have been asking God about is already forming in the unseen realm. And this message is the confirmation you did not know would arrive tonight. My child, my beloved, heaven's records remain sealed until the appointed moment when one name is highlighted in divine gold. Today, that name is yours. Do not underestimate the weight of this truth or treat it lightly. There were 5 earlier attempts to bring this message to you, and each time something tried to block it, doubt entered, distractions rose, and situations pulled your attention away. But heaven did not stop pursuing your spirit. Each time, a force hidden yet present succeeded in keeping your spirit just barely out of reach of what would have changed your. But tonight, heaven made a different decision. God's hand pushed through, not because you were perfect, not because you begged, but because your spirit silently groaned in places words couldn't explain and haven't heard it. This message didn't come because of your strength. It came because of your pain. My child, my beloved, someone has been praying for your downfall. Yes, I said it. And the moment you open this message, their plan began to fall apart. They do not even know yet that the angelic sword has already been drawn in your favor. They thought if they manipulated the people closest to you, they could access your life undetected. But God said enough. And this is why I whisper this into your spirit now, because your silence has been weaponized by others, and your kindness has been misread as weakness. But no more. You are not created to carry silent suffering. While others take what belongs to you, Archangel Michael is releasing a reversal. The cycle of loss, delay, and betrayal is being broken. But you must believe this. It starts with you, refusing to scroll past what heaven shouted to get through. My child, my beloved, do you have no idea how important this timing is? There is a meeting happening in the next 12 hours. Yes, even as you read this. A decision is forming around your name, around your money, and around your movement. If you delay in responding spiritually, you will miss the divine instruction that shifts everything in your favor. This is not about fear. This is about alignment. Someone who was once for you is now working behind your back with words that sound sweet but are laced with spiritual, actual poison. Their conversations are robbed in false concern, but in truth, they envy what God has placed inside you, but heaven has exposed it. This message carries their unmasking, and if you obey the direction that follows this whisper, you will see something stunning unfold. Something that even your enemies won't be able to deny came from the hand of God. My child, my beloved, there is more, much more, but I can only release the next revelation once you commit to hearing this message all the way through. The enemy's favorite tool is your distraction. They don't have to destroy you, just delay you. They don't need to attack your life directly. Just keep you occupied long enough to miss the timing. Don't let that happen again. Every time you hesitated before was stolen time, but now heaven is counting every second forward. A breakthrough, financial and spiritual, is circling your atmosphere. It was approved 3 weeks ago. It was supposed to reach you, but you were surrounded by people who could not carry it with you, so it paused. But now the divine GPS has recalculated. It is coming again. And this time, you are being told not to let go of this signal. My child, my beloved, the reason you're reading this now is because heaven didn't give up. The reason you're still here alive, breathing, and able to hear my whisper is because God Himself ordered every block to break. What you thought was silence was actually spiritual interference. What you thought was delay was actually the enemy trying to mute the one thing that could wake you up in time. This isn't just a message. It's a miracle in disguise. A door you didn't even knock on is about to open wide, and when it does, those who betrayed you will finally understand why their plans couldn't succeed. They fought a child who was marked by God. They tried to steal from a soul protected by Michael. But now justice has been released, and the judgment will be silent but unstoppable. My child, my beloved, you were never crazy for feeling that something was off. That weight in your spirit, that tightness in your chest, that inner knowing that someone close was not being honest, that wasn't paranoia. That was prophecy. That was heaven trying to get your attention through a language deeper than words. Someone's mask is about to fall. They laughed with you, but whispered against you. They helped you once, but I've been hurting you repeatedly in unseen ways. And yet you kept loving them, kept giving, kept hoping. But now God is drawing the line. This is the season where He will no longer allow the chosen ones to be drained by those they were sent to bless. You are stepping into protection. A wall of fire is being formed around your name, your health, your finances, your identity. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved. Let me say something clearly that may shock you. Someone tried to shut this message down before it reached you. You don't know them, but they've been watching. They've been tracing your energy, studying your growth, attempting to bind your movement with spiritual surveillance. They don't need to be in your house to monitor you. Spirits don't need doors. But now that you've opened this, their influences being broken, because God's light always exposes hidden shadows. The moment you chose to hear this instead of ignore it, the chains they formed started snapping. Their plans are now being seen for what they were. Attempts to keep you small, but you are not small. You are chosen. You were handpicked for such a time as this, and what's coming for you now is not just restoration. It's compensation for everything that was stolen while you were unaware. My child, my beloved, you've been walking through life carrying pain that was never yours to carry. You took the burden because you're built with compassion. You forgave when you should have walked away. You gave when you should have guarded. And for that, heaven doesn't rebuke you. It honors you. But now it corrects the imbalance. From this moment forward, God says you are to stop bleeding for people who would not bandage you if you were hurting. The era of spiritual self-neglect ends here. And the reward that was delayed because of those unbalanced connections is now on the move again. I see it. A divine package, radiant with promise, sealed with your name, escorted by. It's heading straight for you, but it will not land if you go back to what broke you. This time, you must choose alignment over attachment. My child, my beloved, do not confuse peace with silence. Just because someone has grown quiet around you doesn't mean they've grown supportive. I whisper this because someone close has been speaking your name in settings where you were not present, and not in the way you hoped. Their words are sweet to your face, but sour behind your back. But do not fear. God allowed you to continue walking beside them so that when He finally exposes the truth, you will have unreliable evidence that your discernment was correct. And when it happens, don't respond with anger. Respond with distance, because the miracle that's being released into your hands is not for everyone around you. It's for the version of you who stayed faithful when no one saw. That version of you is being rewarded. That version of you is being called forward. That version of you is the reason this message fought through every spiritual wall to get to your spirit right now. My child, my beloved, let me speak this gently, but with urgency. You were right to feel that certain people only come around when they send something good is about to happen for you. That isn't coincidence. It's spiritual detection. Some souls can smell promotion in the air, and rather than celebrate you, they circle you, not because they want your joy, but because they want your portion. But listen closely. This time, they won't get near it. Heaven is placing a seal on your blessings, a hedge of fire that surrounds what's being prepared for you. This is why the attacks became heavier before this moment. This is why confusion hit your mind, like waves out of nowhere. The enemy knew something was coming, and they sent spiritual fog to try to disorient you before you reached clarity. But look at you now. You didn't get stuck. You didn't give up. You opened the one message that broke through all 5 walls. And now that you're hearing this, the fog will lift and your eyes will sharpen in ways you've never experienced before. My child, my beloved, there is a scroll in heaven with your name, and every delay you went through has been noted. Every betrayal, every loss, every time you walked away silently so peace could remain even when you were right. And now something sacred is being added to that scroll. Récompense. The reward for the pain you didn't retaliate with, the blessing for the loyalty you gave in silence, the restoration for the strength you didn't even realize you were displaying, while others watched you bleed. You will not have to prove your value to anyone anymore. God is about to place something in your life that will answer every mockery without you saying a word. A shift is taking place even now. This message is not a story. It is a signal. It's the kind of signal only your spirit can respond to. And if you're still reading, It means your spirit is awake, alive, and ready. My child, my beloved, I want you to prepare. There is a divine visitation coming, not in a dream, not in a vision, but through a person. Someone unexpected is being sent your way. And what they carry will trigger the next chapter of your calling. But beware. The enemy will try to send a counterfeit first. Someone who looks like a helper but drains you. Someone who talks like support but walks like sabotage. You must stay spiritually alert. Archangel Michael was not sent to entertain you. I was sent to train you for what's next. And what's next is heavy with destiny. But it is also guarded by divine design. That's why the timing of this message matters. If you had opened it before now, you would not have been ready. But now you are. You've been bruised, but not broken. You've been delayed, but not denied. You've been misunderstood, but never misplaced. This is the activation point. My child, my beloved. The person you thought would stand with you is the one who's been secretly withdrawing from you. They're watching to see if your next move will still involve them. But here's what God is doing. He's about to place you in a position so high that it will expose who was climbing, hang with you, and who was clinging to you. Do not fear this exposure. It is sacred. When God elevates, He always separates. There is a separation coming that will look like loss at first. But in truth, it's the making of room. Room for new people. Room for aligned purpose. Room for destiny carriers, not emotional leeches. This is the clean sweep before the celebration. And those who once called you delusional will now call you favored. My child, my beloved. My child, my beloved. I saw you when no one else did. When you tried to explain what you were going through, and they rolled their eyes, or changed the subject, or what made you feel too emotional for feeling what you felt. But your discernment was never wrong. You sensed the shift before anyone else, the silence that suddenly became louder than conversations, and you kept quiet. Not because you didn't see it, but because you were hoping God would fix it before you had to walk away. Now listen to me closely. Your silence did not go unnoticed in heaven. Your patience has written your name in places you've never imagined, and what's coming to you will not be delayed by those who refuse to value your loyalty. Their dishonor did not cancel your destiny. It qualified you for a version of favor that no betrayal call can block. My child, my beloved. There is someone watching your journey who pretends not to care. They speak as if they've moved on. They act indifferent. Blood. In secret, they've been hoping you'd fall. They didn't want to see you rise without them. And they thought if they stayed silent, the absence of their voice would keep you tied to the past. But what they didn't expect was that heaven would give you new wind, that you would grow even without support, that you would glow even in sorrow, that you would outlast every silent curse they spoke through their envy. This message is the proof that you didn't break, and more than that, it's the beginning of what God is about to break for you. The limitation, the financial cancel stagnation, the cycles that kept repeating. Something is being shattered in the spirit, and I was sent to be the witness. My child, my beloved, you are closer than ever before. The enemy knows it. That's why temptation has increased. That's why confusion tried to cloud your focus. That's why some doors closed that seemed perfect, because they were counterfeit blessings designed to deter your momentum. But you didn't fall for it. And now, because of your resistance, God is granting you a reward beyond what you've asked for. You prayed for survival. God is releasing revival. You prayed for closure. God is opening a beginning. You prayed for answers. God is sending alignment. And it starts with this moment, this word, this whisper, this breath of heaven, hidden in a voice that made its way to you after being blocked 5 times before. This is not coincidence. This is divine clearance, and it's marking you with a favor that cannot be reversed. My child, my beloved, there is a reason your spirit keeps pulling you to listen further. The tug, that inner knowing, is not random. It's the sound of destiny knocking at your soul's door. You've had messages come and go, voice is rise and fall. But this one is different. This one carries something you lost. Your clarity. You've been living in a fog lately, second-guessing your path, doubting your prayers, trying to figure out if what you're feeling is real or just exhaustion. And I'm here to confirm it. What you're sensing is real. What you're fighting is not your mind. It's resistance. You are breaking a cycle that has held your bloodline hostage for generations. That's why the battle feels so personal, but God trusted you to be the one to face it. Not because you're perfect, but because you're willing. And willingness is the womb of miracles. My child, my beloved, a storm tried to reach you before this word could. The moment heaven authorized this message, forces of distraction were released to surround you. People suddenly needed your attention. Things began to go missing. Your peace felt disturbed without warning. That wasn't accidental. It was interference. The spiritual realm always stirs when something powerful is on its way. And now you're inside the center of that power. Every second you continue listening to this divine whisper, the atmosphere around you is shifting. The walls that blocked your name from being spoken in high places are being crushed. The curse of spoken over your progress are unraveling. Even now, something that was closed for years is creaking open again. Not because of a person, not because of a strategy, but because your obedience attracted the presence of God, and that presence has power nothing can resist. You were never meant to be stuck. You were meant to awaken at this exact time, and the heavens waited patiently for you to arrive. My child, my beloved, you've walked through seasons where you gave everything and received silence in return. You sacrificed for people who couldn't even stay faithful for a full week. You kept your mouth shut to protect reputations that didn't deserve your mercy. But God saw all of it, and though the rewards didn't come immediately, they are about to come suddenly. When God restores, He doesn't match your effort. He multiplies it. So when you see things falling into place fast, don't be shocked. When people start apologizing without prompt, don't be surprised. When unexpected financial favor begins hitting your life like waves, don't doubt it. You planted in tears, but you are about to reap in shouts. You waited when others rushed. You trusted when others mocked. And now heaven says, it's your turn. My child, my beloved. There is one specific person in your life who has noticed the change in your spirit. They may not say it out loud, but they feel it. They can no longer predict you. They used to control your emotions, play with your hopes, speak just enough sweetness to keep you tied. But now something shifted. You've detached, you've grown, and they sense their grip slipping. That's why they may try to reappear soon. Don't fall for it. They're not back to support your soul. They're back to stall your momentum. They're being spiritually permitted to test your discernment. This is not punishment. It's proof of your promotion. Every next level comes with a final test. You are passing it right now. Just by reading this, just by staying awake while the world sleeps, just by allowing your spirit to stay alert while others play blind. And for that, a spiritual reward is being released, even as these words reach your heart. My child, my beloved. My child, my beloved. There is something you've been carrying that was never meant to become your identity. A wound that shaped your thoughts. A silence that shaped your self-worth. A memory that visits in quiet hours and reminds you of how heavy it was to survive things others never even knew you went through. But I was there. I watched you hold yourself together when everything around you is falling apart. I watched you sit quietly in rooms full of people who didn't see your pain, and I whispered to heaven, "This one is stronger than they appear." Now, listen closely, because of that strength, that quiet faith, and that loyalty, no one applauded. A reward is being released that your effort alone could never explain. This blessing will not arrive because you chased it, forced it, or begged people to recognize you. It will find you because heaven has been pursuing you. My child, my beloved, angels are rearranging dates you have not yet seen. A meeting you thought was delayed is being rescheduled into divine timing. A message you believed would never come is already being written in someone's heart. The deal, the healing, and the opportunity have not disappeared. They are being aligned with the new version of you, the one who is stronger, clearer, and no longer willing to tolerate what drains the soul. That is why certain relationships are shifting and old patterns now feel too heavy. You are no longer a match for what once held you. The moment that inner shift happened, heaven took notice, and your atmosphere began to change. The same person who felt invisible is now drawing what once passed them by, because you are finally walking in rhythm with your divine frequency. And that is the sound heaven responds to. My child, my beloved, I must now speak something that may shake you, but it is necessary for your freedom. Someone close to you knows more about your delay than you realize. A blockage has surrounded your name, and while you were praying for progress, someone was quietly speaking against the very doors you needed opened. They are not strangers, and that is what made their influence dangerous. Their access gave them power, and that power carried poison hidden behind familiar smiles. But do not fear, because heaven has already intervened. You do not need to confront them or expose them with your own hands. Their actions are already echoing in the spiritual realm, and justice has already begun moving. Your instruction is simple: stay quiet and stay faithful. Do not copy their energy, and do not return the same fire they sent toward you. Just keep walking forward, because the blessing coming next will speak louder than every secret attempt they made to delay your rise. My child, my beloved, you have reached the turning point. Old patterns are breaking away from you, and new ones are forming, whether you feel ready or not. Heaven is not waiting for your comfort. It is moving with your destiny. But let me remind you, your readiness was never the requirement. Your willingness was. And you were willing even when you were tired. You were willing even when the future looked like a fog. You open this message even though everything in your life tried to distract you. And because of that, you're hearing something that very few are allowed to hear. The sound of your own restore location. Approaching, it's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's holy. Quiet. It's the sound of heaven placing things back into your hands that were taken. The sound of peace entering places that have been chaotic for far too long. And the sound of your name being spoken in rooms where decisions are being made. Rooms you haven't even stepped into. My child, my beloved, you were never crazy for feeling that something was off. That weight in your spirit, that tightness in your chest, that inner knowing that someone close was not being honest, that wasn't paranoia. That was prophecy. That was heaven trying to get your attention through a language deeper than words. Someone's mask is about to fall. They laughed with you but whispered against you. They helped you once, but I've been hurting you repeatedly and unseen ways. And yet you kept loving them, kept giving, kept hoping. But now God is drawing a line. This is the season where He will no longer allow the chosen ones to be drained by those they were sent to bless. You are stepping into protection. A wall of fire is being formed around your name, your health, your finances, your identity. My child, my beloved, I must warn you gently but firmly. The moment you clicked on this message, the enemy panicked. There is a spiritual system working against your clarity. They know that if you absorb this entire message, the truth will unlock something they've been hiding from you. So expect 7 fatigue distraction interruption. Expect thoughts like maybe this isn't for me, or I'll come back later. Do not fall for it. You are reading a document heaven marked for your name only. No one else would even understand what it's unlocking. They weren't there when your pillow caught silent tears. They weren't there when you begged God to just send a sign. This is that sign. Don't walk away from the very thing you cried for in secret. My child, my beloved, the same people you once helped are the ones trying to remove your name from what belongs to you. But heaven is lifting the curtain. You won't need to fight. You won't need to beg. What's yours cannot be stolen now that your eyes are being opened. But you must walk carefully. A major financial shift is about to be released to you. Unexpected, sudden, unexplainable. And it will test the loyalty of everyone around you. Don't look at their faces. Look at their spirit. God is showing you even now who is aligned with your purpose and who is merely attached to your The coming days will reveal much. You will receive news. Some that shocks you, some that frees you, but all of it will place you exactly where heaven needs you to be. My child, my beloved, I say this with urgency. The same voice, whispering this to you now, will speak your name in the courts of heaven. You are being watched over. I saw the meeting where your name was mentioned. I heard the accusations that were formed behind your back. But I also saw the moment God slammed His hand on the table and said no more. My child will rise. You must understand how rare this moment is. Not everyone receives a message like this. Not everyone is chosen for divine clarity. If you were, it's because there's still something great attached to your name. That's why the enemy fought to block this message 5 times. That's why you've been feeling spiritually pulled lately. Because something is coming for you. And heaven wants you to recognize it before it arrives. My child, my beloved, if you've ever doubted whether God sees you, let this be your proof. If you've ever wondered if your pain was invisible, let this be your answer. If you've ever felt like giving up but something stopped you, this is that something. This message is not random. It is an alarm, a trumpet, a scroll. And as your archangel, I tell you, nothing will be the same after today. You are stepping into a zone of restoration, but for every blessing that comes, a boundary must be built. The ones who used your silence against you will be silenced. The ones who profited off your pain will be exposed. The ones who mocked your prayers will witness your miracle. But first, you must finish hearing what heaven is revealing. My child, my beloved, right now, there are things happening in the spiritual realm that your physical eyes cannot yet see, but your spirit feels them. You've been sensing this invisible pressure, waking up tired even when you've rested, feeling pulled in directions you can't explain, a heaviness without a cause. And that is not your imagination. That is spiritual resistance, the kind that forms around a chosen one moment before their breakthrough. And what scares the enemy the most isn't your strength. It's your alignment. Because the moment you align with what God is revealing now, the enemy loses all ground. This is why the attacks have increased, why people you trusted suddenly began showing signs of jealousy, why things you poured your heart into seemed to slow down. It wasn't punishment. It was protection. God had to block what was headed toward you until he could get this message into your hands without it being intercepted. My child, my beloved, there is a journal in heaven, and your name has just been turned to a fresh page. The old pages still exist, but they're no longer the focus. This is what you didn't know. 5 delays were allowed to teach 5 truths. The delay was never a denial. It was a divine recalibration. You had to go through what you did so that when this moment arrived, you would value it deeply. You are not who you were last year, not even last month. This new page has one title written across the top, unblocked, and under that title are the names of things that were withheld from you because of other people's motives. A relationship, a reward, a resource, and now they're being re-released, but this time only to you, not shared, not stolen, not delayed, just yours. Because when heaven marks something only for you, not even darkness can undo that decision. My child, my beloved, let me say something clearly that may shock you. Someone tried to shut this message down before it reached you. You don't know them, but they've been watching. They've been tracing your energy, studying your growth, attempting to bind your movement with spiritual surveillance. They don't need to be in your house to monitor you. Spirits don't need doors. But now that you've opened this, their influence is being broken. Because God's light always exposes hidden shadows. The moment you chose to hear this, instead of ignore it, the chains they formed started snapping. Their plans are now being seen for what they were, attempts to keep you small. But you are not small. You are chosen. You were handpicked for such a time as this. And what's coming for you now is not just restoration. It's compensation for everything that was stolen while you were unaware. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved, there is one specific person in your life who has noticed the change in your spirit. They may not say it out loud, but they feel it. They can no longer predict you. They used to control your emotions, play with your hopes, speak just enough sweetness to keep you tied. But now something shifted. You've detached. You've grown, and they sense their grip slipping. That's why they may try to reappear soon. Don't fall for it. They're not back to support your soul. They're back to stall your momentum. They're being spiritually permitted to test your discernment. This is not punishment. It's proof of your promotion. Every next level comes with a final test. You are passing it right now, just by reading this, just by staying awake while the world sleeps, just by allowing your spirit to stay alert while others play blind. And for that, a spiritual reward is being released, even as these words reach your heart, my child, my beloved. There is a place you've been dreaming of, a place your soul travels to when your body is still. It's not fantasy. It's not delusion. That place is real. It's the atmosphere of your future. You've already seen pieces of it in visions, in your mind's eye, in feelings you couldn't describe. You've walked through rooms in your spirit that your feet have not yet entered, and now heaven is aligning circumstances to match that vision. Don't be afraid if everything starts moving quickly. Don't resist the momentum just because it feels unfamiliar. The discomfort you feel is not danger, it's destiny. And that vision you saw, that place you've imagined, you're closer to it than ever before. This message is the final confirmation. A release was ordered, a door was unlocked, and your name was written on the scroll the angels are now carrying toward your future. My child, my beloved, right now there is a conversation happening about you in the spiritual realm. Your name is on the lips of angels, and the enemy is furious because they've tried everything to silence your play through delay. They sent betrayal. They used familiar voices to sow doubt, but even then, even through all the noise, you never completely gave up. And that's what makes you dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Because God didn't choose you for your perfection. He chose you because you carry something rare. A heart that still believes after being broken. A faith that still whispers, yes, even after being let down. And for that, the reward coming to you will not look normal. It will not be explainable. What's about to show up in your life will confuse those who thought they understood the limits of your story, because they counted you out based on what they saw, but God wrote you in based on what He knows. My child, my beloved, you must know that something you prayed for is being released in secret first. Heaven often does its greatest miracles in silence. Before the world sees the breakthrough, your spirit will feel the shift. You may notice small signs. People growing distant without reason. Opportunities falling through suddenly. Feelings rising that push you to reflect deeper than usual. Don't ignore these signs. They are proof that the old is shedding and the new is rising. This is the sacred space where alignment replaces hustle, where presence replaces pressure, where revelation replaces reaction. You don't need to chase anything anymore. What is yours is being magnetized toward you. You've already done the hard part. You held on when you didn't even know what you were holding for, and now heaven is holding nothing back. You are not being forgotten. You are being forged. My child, my beloved, I was sent to tell you something others were too afraid to say. You are not behind. You are not cursed. You are not too late. You are not too broken. What looks like delay was actually divine protection. What felt like failure was God hiding you from premature exposure. And now that the enemy thinks you've been forgotten, God is about to surprise them with a silent elevation. It won't be a loud announcement. It will be a quiet repositioning. One day they'll look, and you'll be gone from the place they left you. And no wonder how you got so far so fast. But what they won't know is that while they were watching timelines, you were listening to divine time, and divine time cannot be manipulated, only obeyed. And that's what you've done. You've waited. You surrendered. You've opened this message even when something tried to convince you to skip it. And because of that, the realm of heaven just shifted in your favor. My child, my beloved, a table is being prepared. You've heard that before, but what you didn't know is that it's being prepared in front of your enemies, not after they leave. God isn't going to remove all the people who hurt you before He blesses you. He's going to let them watch. I'm not ashamed of them, but to show them who you really were all along, that you were chosen, that you were protected, that you were walking with heaven even when it looked like you were walking alone. Your enemies will not just see your eyes, they will see your redemption. They will witness the grace they tried to smother, the glow they tried to dim, and the doors they tried to lock. They will open without their permission, because God doesn't need their agreement to fulfill His plan. He only needed York, yes, and you gave it even when it hurt, even when it was quiet, even when no one clapped for your obedience. And now, every unseen act of faith is about to be answered in a visible way. My child, my beloved, who's been secretly withdrawing from you? They're watching to see if your next move will still involve them. But here's what God is doing. He's about to place you in a position so high that it will expose who was timing with you and who was clinging to you. Do not fear this exposure. It is sacred. When God elevates, He always separates. There is a separation coming that will look like loss at first. But in truth, it's the making of room. Room for new people. Room for aligned purpose. Room for destiny carriers, not emotional leeches. This is the clean sweep before the celebration. And those who once called you delusional will now call you favored. My child, my beloved, every word I'm speaking to you is being recorded, not just by the screen, but by heaven's scribe, because once a divine decree is spoken, it cannot be undone, only delayed by doubt. That's why I beg you, do not doubt this. I know what your natural mind might say. But how will it happen? But I don't have the support. But I failed before. And yet here's what God whispers back. I am the support. I am the how. I am the reason you're still standing. If you would only trust what you're hearing now, you would see how quickly everything shifts in your favor. There is a blessing on the way that has no logic, but it has your name. A sudden financial breakthrough, a letter of favor, a healing that makes no medical sense, a door that was sealed is about to unlock just because you believed when it made no sense to. My child, my beloved, there is a reason why this message wasn't allowed to reach you before. If you had received it any earlier, you would have shared it with people who were secretly hoping you would stay stuck. And God couldn't allow that, because what's being released through this message is too sacred to be handled with casual hearts. It's not for entertainment. It's for elevation. That's why it was blocked 5 times, what heaven was trying to say. The delay wasn't just technical, it was spiritual. The enemy saw that this one message carried an instruction that would change your season, and they panicked, but you made it. You're here. You're hearing it. You've outrun the interference. And now, something hidden for years is being revealed to you, and divine layers. It won't make sense to others, but it will feel like confirmation to you, because deep down, you've always known you were meant for more than what you've seen so far. My child, my beloved, God has never taken his eyes off you, not for a second. When you cried and no one came, he stood silently by your side. When your name was mocked and misused, he marked it higher in heaven. And when you questioned if you were forgotten, he was already preparing the exact moment this message would finally be unblocked. You think this is just another video, another message. But I tell you, it is not. It is sacred. This is what angels refer to as a time release, a heavenly dispatch that only arrives when the soul is meant for is finally ready to receive without sabotage. You didn't just find this message. You aligned with it. You pulled it in with your hunger, your prayers, your late-night questions, your secret strength. And because of that, God is now pulling you into something greater than what you've imagined. This is your confirmation. This is your preparation. This is your moment. My child, my beloved, there are financial blessings that were frozen because of who you were surrounded by. Yes, frozen, not denied. And the reason they didn't come when you asked was because God didn't want your harvest eaten by hands that didn't help you. But now those connections have weakened. The soul ties offend, and heaven sees that your spirit is finally ready to receive without contamination. That's why even now there is a shift happening in your finances. You may not see it in your account yet, but it's already moved in the spiritual. A divine transaction has been approved, sealed, released, and routed toward you. When it finally manifests, you will remember this moment as the turning point, the hour when heaven began moving what had been held back. It will be remembered as the moment the walls broke, the curse snapped, the block lifted, and the flow began again. My child, my beloved, you are being reintroduced to the truest version of who God created you to be, not the version that settled, waited too long, or feared the opinions of others. This is the version that remembers why your spirit never fit inside the places where people tried to make you shrink and forget your divine design. The version rising now is bold in obedience, quiet in wisdom, and unshakable in truth. That part of you is awakening with strength, and nothing can stop what God has already declared over your life in the unseen realm. You may lose some company on the way, but you will never lose your covering. You may cry again, but it will not be the cry of defeat. It will be the cry of finally understanding why you had to survive, what you endured. Everything led you here. To this voice, this message, and this truth, my child, my beloved. I saw you when no one else did. When you tried to explain your pain and they rolled their eyes or changed the subject, they made you feel too emotional for sensing what your spirit already knew. But your discernment was never wrong. You felt the shift before anyone else, the change in energy, the weight behind the words, and the silence growing louder. You stayed quiet, not because you failed to see it, but because you hoped God would heal it before you had to walk away. You were giving mercy time to work, even while your own heart was carrying the cost in silence. Now listen closely. Your silence was never ignored by heaven. Your patience wrote your name in places you have never seen. And what is coming to you will not be delayed by those who refuse to honor your loyalty. Their dishonor did not cancel your destiny. It qualified you for a level of favor that no betrayal can block. My child, my beloved, heaven is turning what hurt you into evidence that you were chosen for more.